Well, hello, and welcome back to those who are following me, and welcome to those whose first time this is. I'm Ken Walker, and this is Beaubear's Island Television, and I'm doing a series on the living island, focusing on ecology and climate change. I want to start today, though, with something from the 19th century. This is a book, Living with Plants, written by Loring Bailey in 1899. Fascinating thing. I want to just let you know, Loring Bailey was born in 1839, actually at West Point, New York, at the military academy, where his father was a professor. And he studied geology and botany at Harvard University. And he studied with two greats. Louis Agassiz was his geology professor, and Asa Gray was his botany professor, and you couldn't have asked for better. In 1861, he came to New Brunswick to be a professor at the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton. And he taught there, but at the same time, he was working with Sir William Logan, who was at the Geological Survey of Canada, and he was north of here and found Silurian fossils, which I have found as well, and they go back something like 470 million years. So here, but he really liked plants, and I'm happy about that. So I want to read a couple just parts from this book to kind of as an introduction to where I'm going. He writes, "It's not the study of a science. That is, it takes the things at hand and endeavors to understand them," this is the catch, "without reference to the systematic order or relationships of the objects," which is science. It's wholly informal, as the objects are the ones that one sees, entirely separated from definitions and therefore perfectly natural. This is nature. This is how you study nature. It simply trains the eye and the mind to see and to understand the common things of life and establishing a relationship with everything that is. I want to begin this series with the idea that no one has to be a scientist to study nature. As a kid, I spent a lot of time in the woods, mostly not scientifically analyzing anything I was looking at, but just getting to know it. I would go back to the same places and look. And I think if more people did that, especially now, we'd be a lot happier, certainly a lot healthier, and a lot less stressed. We need to get out, but in places that are healthy. For a couple hours, let the world be the world in all that's going on. But take to the woods and be part of it. You'll notice the change within. He also says, knowledge is the right of everyone who seeks it, as it sets the seeker to investigate the answers to their questions. It is not the mere information that is of value, but the inquiring spirit that becomes one's own. Likewise, in the training of the eye, that is of utmost importance. To do this is to broaden one's contact and relationship with the natural world and thus deepen one's life in the natural world. What Bailey is saying is don't worry about the species or the names of the various parts or even its evolution. There is time for that. Simply be there. Observe. What's going on? How are things positioned? How are they co-relating? How are they sharing this earth with one another and with us? Bearing in mind that most of what you're looking at has been here for millions and millions of years before humans ever walked the earth. But the most important thing is to use your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose. Listen, look deeply, listen intently, smell what is taking place. I always caution people, don't eat anything. When you do this, you're part of it. Bailey is dead on, I think, by saying knowledge is the right of everyone who seeks it. And the important thing is to have it in your mind to seek it. When you investigate something, you have questions. Questions lead to answers and to more questions, trust me. But more so, you find a lot about yourself. In fact, I'd go so far to say when you're out there in nature studying something, you're finding out more about yourself than the thing you're studying. I really believe that. And the more you do it, the more your senses become fine-tuned to the world around you and all that lives there. They're becoming known to you, and I would also say you're becoming known to them. After some years doing this, like I've been doing now, you can go into the forest and not feel like a total alien. We're still aliens, trust me. But remember, and I say this with children more so, but adults as well. You're in someone else's neighborhood. Remember Sesame Street? You act with respect. You don't live there. Bailey says, the study of the interrelationships of organisms and the relationship to their environment is ecology. That's true. Each and every particular habitat is determined by the overall climate of the region and of the local area, such as our island, and both the macro and the microclimate of a particular place. The weather, it's seasonal and annual, the elevation, the soil type, the nutrient levels, the precipitation levels, the amount of light, and the type of vegetation that can be accommodated by such variables. That's what's going on when you see that. This may be expressed by a number of different organisms occupying a certain space, or constrained to a few, or only one. When you go into the woods, anywhere, each and every living organism is where it is because it has evolved to be there, doing what it takes to survive. And you have to look at that. By observing one plant in a particular place, you are observing evolution at work. By understanding this, you're finding your place in the world. Now, like I said, we're aliens out there because we live in this. But we live in the world, and we're part of evolution. And by understanding what everything else is doing helps us understand maybe what we should be doing, not what we're doing. Note the differences between organisms. Notice that This has evolved here, but so has that, and so has that. You may even ask yourself what's not here, but too many questions there. And this is it. It's developed to be what it is, where it is, and why it is there. Those are the real questions you want to ask. At this point, you're actually beginning to learn how to do science. The thing is, don't rush. Go out there and enjoy nature for what it is, not for what humanity has turned it into. Take the time to take it all in and appreciate really what a wonderful world we live in. When you see something now as winter is occurring here, everything's closing down, nature's going to sleep, and it'll wake up in the spring. Note the changes. Note what's happening with the snow melt or the rain coming down and the sun rising higher and all of those things that's going to make this little plant here burst forth. Feel the wonder and awe within you as you do this. The last part of it. Nature records the passing of the seasons. The seasonal or long-term observation of the vegetation under these conditions is phenology. Now, science loves to create words endlessly. Phenology is simply the study of change seasonally. This is what we're doing on Beaubear's Island in our climate study. And this is where it becomes science. Yet in order to do science, and this is a personal observation, I think an intimacy is necessary with what you're observing in order to truly understand it. I know scientists would say, well, you got to remain objective, no bias, blah, 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 let the machines do it. I'm not a machine. I have bias. I'm a human being. And I'm a living organism, and what I'm observing is another living organism. We're not machines. It isn't just an object. We have to get over that. It's life in a myriad of forms. And it's there waiting to greet you from season to season, year after year, if you've got it in here. If you enjoy this series, and I'm going to take it from here and run with it, please support it, sponsor it, leave a thumbs up. Likewise, don't forget, if you can and when you're able, visit us on the island. It awaits you. See you next time. Take care.